Hey, ho guys, weird week this week for multiple reasons. So, due to like stuff and things, like we kind of played late the previous week, and then there was like holiday weekend junk and whatnot. I didn't actually get in contact with Steve until Wednesday, I believe, and we determined that Thursday was the best day for both of us to battle for reasons that, yeah. So Thursday was the best day for us to battle. Not only that, though, Steve, of course, you know, the owner of the Sawsbucks, BattlerX made me an offer, which was that he was so confident that he would actually, if we could play on Showdown, he would play while drunk. And this was the offer he made me, and I was like, well, I guess that's okay. So, because of the shortness of the week, like literally, yeah, and then like something came up when I was gonna do all my planning and breeding and stuff on Wednesday. We ended up kind of having to put together a hodgepodge team. So that is what you see right here is what we have. So we got a we have a couple of, mostly just pulling guys from the box and hoping that something good can happen. So. We have two guys from last week actually making a return appearance because I wanted to try them again. We got Sableye and Fable both coming from last week. A little bit more emphasis on special defense on both of them this week. And Sableye switching from Shadow Ball over to Dark Pulse because there's a Meloetta that's immune to Shadow Ball, obviously. So yeah, that's going to be that. And then the two things that are resistant to Dark, being Mienshao and Honchkrow, don't really want to get burned, probably, unless they're Lum, in which case they're not going to kick my butt as much, so that's going to be good. We have a Mega Gallade similar to the one we brought last time, actually, against Sawsbucks. I believe we switched out its Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and Shadow Sneak, because Gengar's there. It's a speed tie, but I don't really want to do the speed tie if I can help it, and a +1 Shadow Sneak should take out Gengar. So there's that. Scarf Raptor, just kind of got the idea to use Scarf Raptor. It's got quick attack, so we can, you know, still potentially outpace Mega Pinsir. It's not gonna do a whole lot, of course, but you know, hopefully Raptor can outspeed and nuke some things. And I don't know, wanted to bring Raptor again. Empoleon has been brought every week and will probably continue to be brought every week because he seems to be always the guy who has to have Stealth Rock. So we got Stealth Rock, Roar, Ice Beam, and Scald. That does not do very well versus Slowbro, but at least we can roar it out, and hopefully, you know, Slowbro, if it doesn't have Calm Mind, if it's like AV or something like that, can be decent, you know, kind of set up fodder for Fable or Sableye. Once again, if we can get, you know, if we can get a Cosmic Power or up or two, you know, hopefully we'll be all right. And the Magnezone is, I believe, the same Magnezone we brought last time. Lots of recycling going on, as mentioned earlier. I believe I adjusted the speed because he no longer has Florges, so we just ran a little bit of speed to perhaps outspeed an uninvested Sandslash, and I think this one actually has Magnet Rise, so there's a possibility we might be able to catch him with Magnet Rise. It is sturdy once again, just to stop Mega Pinsir from going on a rampage, and of course protect back to lefty, or protect back to sturdy with lefties going on. So that's the quick rundown of the team, and I've realized that this is actually, well, you'll see. Alright, so we're going to lead out with Staraptor, and yeah, this is the funny thing that I kind of forgot was the case when I started live recording, was that for whenever I have Showdown now, I use sprites and that don't move, and no animations at all, so it's going to make this a very awkward video to watch, but it is recorded live, so you can at least see the mouse moving around, clicking buttons. So Raptor's just going to U-turn right off the bat. I don't have close combat because he has Gengar, and I don't want to get Scarf locked into it, much less against Mega Pinsir. That would be the absolute worst thing in the world. So I'm actually not sure who I want to go into on Sandslash, but I guess it's going to be Wave Man, so I can Scald it. I could go into Fable and just try to go ahead and set up right off the hop and win the game, but I don't really want to take a ton from EQ right away, so even though I feel like he might be more likely to go rocks there. But anyway, so yeah, so Katie comes in and gets burned, and I don't know what it wants to do, but I'm reasonably confident to just set up a stealth rock. I'm pretty sure I'll live one of whatever he goes for, and we can go from there. If he wanted to Calm Mind, then he's burned, so he can't, you know, last that long with his own timer. So he actually Focus Blasts, and it misses, so we get rocks up for free, and, you know, we're playing on Showdown, so that's gonna happen quite a bit. Yeah, so we are going to actually go into Sableye, as it's going to resist Focus Blast and Meloetta Stab. Ends up to double into Heatran, so I feel like this is probably not that bad a switch for me. We can Calm Mind up, and that should be pretty great against most variations of Heatran. And things that are physical probably don't want to contend with the Will-O-Wisp, so we're going to be able to Calm Mind up here, and it should be all well and good. And see what he wants to throw at us, if it's a sub or who knows what. It's just going to be a Fire Blast, which we're going to actually avoid, so we get another free one. Or we get a free Fire Blast here, and that wasn't very free. That cost me like 65% of my Sableye when I was already at +2. So I feel like it has to be Specs. The calc said like it was would have been like a very, very low roll, to the point I feel like it would have been like a 40% boosting item, but that doesn't exist, so it kind of has to be Specs, I would think. And that's going to run quite a bit of a train. So I feel like our best course of action right now is to recover, and that might have been okay, trying to recover until he either ran out of Fire Blasts or missed one again, except he gets burned, so oh well. Guess that kind of makes up for the miss that would have completely stroked the Sableye anyway, so sounds alright to me. So we got Proto Man here, who is max speed Jolly, and thereby can outspeed this, and thereby it's a good chance to go ahead and get it megaed up and hopefully threaten it out. So I'm gonna click Bulk Up here, because Drain Punch is, or you know, super effective fighting, or maybe even Earthquake, is obvious. Specs Heatran is kind of a win condition that tears through my team. He's not going to risk that, and he's going to go into Gengar probably to avoid ground or fighting while I bulk up, and then hopefully I can get it with a +1 sneak. So that's kind of the idea here, and if not, then well, maybe Gallade Special Bulk can help us out. If he's defensively invested, Drain Punch might not kill anyway, but regardless, I'm pretty sure he's not going to risk the health of a very important piece for his off. Maybe he will. So, disregarding, I did a calc afterwards, and I'm pretty sure Drain Punch, unless he was defensively invested, would have actually KO'd from there. So that might have been well good. Now Gengar probably would have came in, or maybe make a Pinsir and kind of sort of forced me out. Actually, no, I don't think that would have KO'd. But I also don't think that Ice Punch would have KO'd from where... Well, actually, we might have KO'd from 75%. But so that was probably yeah, definitely the key play of the game right there. So now that that's out of the way, I don't have a Sableye to try to, you know, Prankster Calm Mind and do that stuff, and we also don't have a guy to outspeed pretty much his entire team, if nothing scarfed, and perhaps get bulk ups. So that means the Specs Heatran is going to be a problem, because we don't have close combat on Storm Eagle, and that's the only thing we have that could outspeed it and possibly hit it super effectively. So since I don't actually have close combat though, we're just going to Empoleon, because I can actually hit and fire back with Scald, which if he wants to leave it in, then cool. It might actually take me down to Torrent range, but he's actually just going to go into Katie, which there's no animation for the switch there, so unfortunately you don't get to see that again. Sorry about that, but I wanted to keep with the live record because that's the way I was playing it during the game, so that is the viewpoint that I wanted you guys to see on the video, as opposed to replaying it and wasting more data on seeing the replay. So here's this guy, and if Empoleon wants to die to like a Wild Charge or whatever here and let Fable come in and maybe try to start setting up some Cosmic Powers, I can do so. That seems like a pretty okay thing. With a Specs Flash Cannon kind of on the way, that's might be... Like, I don't know that Fable's going to be able to do anything anyway, but let's there are a couple of things that at least we can give it a shot and not have Fable be useless. So I don't know. We'll see. So I'm just gonna stay in and click Scald, and he's actually gonna Volt Switch out and let somebody else endure a Scald. So that's good enough, I guess. As soon as Gallade went down, I kind of looked at his team and was like, well, let's try to not get 6-0'd. So when I saw he sacked off the Meloetta, I was like, alright, we're not going to get 6-0'd, which is usually a thing I like to say during a game. So Gengar comes in, takes a Shark Load from a Scald. Grief, that's like no special attack invested either. And gets burned on top of that. So Gengar could T-Bolt, it could Focus Blast, and I don't really want to switch anything else in on this guy because you could also just straight up Sludge Bomb, and that would, you know, kill Fable. So depending on what it would want to be, certain switches could be okay, but I think I'm just gonna click Scald because Focus Blast or T-Bolt, if he's like a Life Orb type thing going on, probably gonna kill anyway. So I'm just gonna click Scald and stay in and see what we want to do. That's what we're calculating here. Turns out he doesn't have anything to hit Empoleon with besides Shadow Ball, so okay. We get another kill, and that's going to bring it down to a 4-0, so hopefully we can get at least one more kill, or maybe Clefable can work its magic. We'll see. So this thing's in again. Shadow Ball drops Spadef, so we're definitely not living that one. And we'll see what he Volt Switches into, and I kind of just expect it'll be Heatran, because that's going to put the most pressure on stuff in general. So I can drop in Raptor, which would outspeed it, and that would actually kind of force me to drop in Raptor, in fact. And, you know, the threat of close combat is there, especially since I just knocked out the Ghost, but at the same time he's also got Mega Pinsir, so close combat still wouldn't really be a good idea. So I believe in the end, right now I'm kind of going over the team and looking like it's looking to see, is there any way we can possibly pull this back with just Eagle and Magnet Man? Because again, the problem with Double Power Fable is that it's pretty useless unless it gets set up. It can win the game on its own, but it's pretty useless until it gets set up. So yeah, so we got this, and I believe we're just going to end up to Double Edge and hit as hard as we can. U-turn, in hindsight, might have been the better play, but I kind of like needed a big chunky hit on it with Raptor, and then I kind of needed him to also have a big chunky hit on him with Magnezone as well, enduring Fire Blast with Sturdy. So this guy's here, and if I could, I would just click Raptor die and let him do something, and then bring in Fable, because that at this point that's probably the best way that Fable's gonna have a chance to get anything set up. And I feel like it's kind of a similar predicament to having to click T-Bolt and kill the Sylveon last week, where like if I can take this kill, but if I take this kill, then like I don't know how I win from here unless Fable pulls something out of its buns. So because it's an easy drop into Mega Pinsir, and it's an easy quick attack KO, and then you know, I don't know. So in the end, I believe I just decided to Double Edge and officially get it down to a 3-0, so it makes it 3-3. So we're tied in the score, but yeah, there's very little I can do about Spectran at this point, mostly because of the of losing Gallade to yeah, I'm staying in and risking it. But Balls of Steel is kind of a trademark of BattlerX, and what more could you expect? Honestly, I'm pretty surprised that we've gotten it down to a 3-0, so that's pretty alright by me. Fully expect Mega Pinsir just to come in right here, and it's just going to click Quick Attack, which begs the question of, do we bother going into Magnezone? We certainly did that quite a bit in the previous game, so the thought, of course, it does occur to me here. The problem is, I think it's going to be a much better chance of him just doing something else if we go into zone here. And well, the other problem is that he can just go into this guy. But I also feel like it's kind of a bait, because this is the only guy left who Fable has a remote chance in heck to set up on. Again, it's probably not going to work anyway. Which I kind of felt like by not going into zone immediately, then I wouldn't have to protect and confirm that I'm sturdy. So maybe he would stay and try to kill. Probably not. But Anyway, so we're just going to Flash Cannon, get a little bit of damage off, and Earthquake brings me down to sturdy, and then Lefties brings me back up. I could Protect here for a little bit more, but I don't think it would have changed this next play anyway. As if he just kills me with Evire, that's going to be fine. Well, not fine, but he kills me with Volt Switch, and so that's going to route this guy in, who's going to 100% KO Fable. I don't think I would have been above a Volt Switch, even if I protected anyway, so that probably didn't matter. And that will conclude the game as Fable, of course. I don't think any variant of Fable would have been able to do anything against Heatran right there, to be fair. But anyway, that was the game. So we actually ended up making out about the same differential as last time, only slightly worse. After BattlerX improved his team a little bit. Not that he really needed to, but yeah, so we go down 3-0. Back-to-back losses, I think, for the first time this season, but, you know, it's all about the storyline. Somehow we're still in playoff contention, so that just means we gotta come back in, and thankfully, next week, we should have a much longer prep time. I'll actually be able to do proper preparation for the next game, which we were not quite able to do. Now, I will also grant you, because of it being on Showdown, I could have made some last-minute tweaks and, you know, change things up in the last hour or so. Could have done that, but, you know, I planned for playing on cart, and I just poured over the same team I had on cart. Didn't want to, you know, I would have been nice to have maybe like HP Ground Fable, things like that, but I didn't have it on cart, so I didn't want to use it on Showdown. So that's just kind of generally how we do things. So but next week we play Philadelphia Scissors, Chimpact, that guy. Should be a much easier opponent than this freaking now 9-0 nonsense that we have going on here. But Chimpact has actually lost a couple of games. You know, it's a thing BattlerX is not a fan of doing. So it'll still be difficult, of course. But I don't know. We got some crazy stuff in the woodwork. This video actually kind of reminds me of Season 4 against Dan, when like the video was like really short for some reason, so it's kind of the way it's going to be this time as well. And we brought Bright Powder in that game, so maybe that's foreshadowing for next week. Don't write it off. Don't write it off. And I think I know the perfect guy to use it. And I think I know the moves he's going to use along with it. So yeah, Scary Rain team, we'll see what we can do about it. But anyway, yeah, so no Pokemon in the game or anything like that, because aberrant ending, because aberrant game, because aberrant prep. So speaking of things that are going to be aberrant, for reasons that won't be adequately explained, but some people might know what they are. This might or might not be the last battle video we upload this season, where I actually get to do commentary. Yeah, there's reasons for that. If nothing else, definitely starting with the playoffs, if we make the playoffs. I don't know how we're still in playoff contention. I feel like we've been doing really bad, but like we still have a winning record, I think, somehow. I don't know how, but we do. And like we're still like in contention to win the division even. This is some madness we have going on this season. Which I definitely, at least by then, we won't, most likely will not be able to narrate stuff. If that is the case, I have a pre-recorded thing I'll slip at the start of that video specifically, whenever that may be. But hopefully I am back on mic for next week. Hopefully we'll be getting back to some normalcy next week. Or maybe things will just be even crazier and I don't know what we're going to be able to do. But at least we are going to be able to continue playing, so that's better than Season 4. Videos might end up being awkward and not what you're used to, but it might be the norm going forward. So with that said, I will see you guys whenever I see you. Later days.